San Francisco.
I just listened to that last night.
You did? Well, we're
I did,
live.
actually.
Welcome to the Lovecraft eZine podcast live.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what this is not an AA meeting if that's what you were.
Oh shoot, man, I'm the wrong spot.
Yeah, me and Pete came to the wrong place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everyone, let me know if you can see us and hear us. Let's give it a second here. I'm still gun shy about going live, but I love it. I just got to get past all the hoops and everything, and I know everyone else loves it too. As always, you're really helping me if you're watching live and you right away tell me in the side chat if you can see us and hear us okay. So that's very helpful. And hear us. Steve says he can see us. I'm assuming he can hear us because he answered. So anyway, welcome to the Lovecraft eZine podcast, everyone. It's yeah, we didn't have a podcast last week. How are you guys doing?
Well, I gotta say, I was really bummed to hear that Richard Corman had died.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
We're
it's
gonna talk about him later, or do a
yeah,
tribute episode later.
yeah. We can talk. We don't have to wait till later to talk about him.
Yeah. I just did finish watching Attack of the Crab Monsters. I hadn't seen that one in a while.
I
It's
mean,
always an old favorite, Corman.
The haunted
well, okay. Another Richard died. Our dear friend Rick Lay.
Yeah.
And I just want to. We're gonna do for everyone's benefit out there. I do want you to know that I'm putting together a tribute episode to Rick. I've discussed this with Rick's daughter. She is all for it. What we're going to do is us panelists and any of Rick's close friends who wants to be on it, and also, and very importantly, his friends from the pulp genre side of things.
Oh gosh, that's great, because I want to know a little bit more about things about him I didn't know. Stories
Yeah.
I've never heard.
Matt mentioned to me the day that we found out that Rick died. I was on the phone with Matt. I was on the phone with Pete. Matt said something about something along the lines of an Irish wake, where we tell stories about the person who just passed away, and I think that's a great idea. When Scott Eckert is doing the work for me on the pulp side, and any input from any of you guys or anyone listening is welcome to just send me an email.
Have you ever been to or seen a real old timey New Orleans funeral?
Yeah.
It's like they carry the coffin of the deceased through the streets with a fancy dressed jazz band, and they're playing something like A Closer Walk with Thee or St. James Infirmary, and it's real sad.
I love that song.
Then
St. James Infirmary.
At some point they say, the hell with it, and they just cut loose with Dixieland and saying, we're gonna give this guy a send off, and we're gonna give him something that he would have loved and everyone will remember.
Yeah, couple things. First of all, I'm Mike Davis. For anyone watching for the first time, we'll do introductions in a second. If you're watching, our names are on the screen, and you probably know who we are. If you're listening later, that's why we do the introductions. The thing that really gets me, I know I'm not the only one. I know you guys too, and Rick's family, Rick's friends. I can only speak for myself though, and I've been having a really hard time. He wasn't just a panelist. All of us here on the show, we're all best friends. We're all very close friends. And Rick was the same. He'd been on the show for years. and just as long as Pete and Matt and Joe Pulver. So what really gets me is that 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks from right now, Rick was on the show, and then 2 days later he passed away. I just wanted to mention a couple of things about him now, and then we'll move on. But I do want everyone to know it'll probably be like something like the last Sunday of this month, because we want to give everyone time to put their schedules together. We don't want someone to miss out who wants to be there. So, but that is in the works. So, I don't know. I don't think any of us had it in us to do a podcast episode last Sunday, but I mean, geez, guys, I mean, we've all lost people, right? But it never, people that are close to you, you never get used to it. And especially, I mean, we knew that Rick had Parkinson's. We knew that. I had even told Danielle maybe a month ago, I'm worried we may not have Rick too much longer. But as I said that, I didn't know that I really believed it. And then when I said it, I thought maybe, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, something like that. So he does the podcast 2 weeks ago, and then he dies in the small hours of the morning on Tuesday. So it's hard to get over losing someone, especially when they're here and then they're gone. Just I saw that text come from over my phone from Allison before I even read it. I was just saying out loud, no, 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 no. And it was exactly what I was hoping that it wasn't. Anyway, what about you guys? I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, but
It's like I think people, human beings, they're incredibly resilient. They're durable. They can take a lot, but everybody's really super fragile also.
yes.
Um, you can be just gone in an eye blink.
Yeah.
That's just part of life. And I guess more than dwelling on that, I just really enjoy the memories I have of Rick and the things that he said. So it's like I'm trying to remember the good times, and not because all of us are going to become fragile and feeble as we get older. I'm glad he had the podcast for the last several years when he was becoming more disabled. It was good for him.
It was. His daughter told me how much he loved being on the show, and we got so much from Rick, not just knowledge, but to be friends and to spend time with such a beautiful man. But we gave back to him too by him being here. That meant a lot to him. It really did. I'm so happy about that. And you can't sweep grief under the rug, but at the same time, like as Matt is saying, I'm so grateful for the years that we did have with him. I am. Yesterday morning, I'm laying in bed, and then just all of a sudden, I just burst into tears and couldn't stop sobbing for like 20 minutes, and Danielle was there and, you know, hugging me, and it just, grief comes in waves, when you first lose someone, those waves are breaking on the shore constantly. You know what I mean? And then as time goes on, it's not that you're less sad per se, and it's not per se that it gets better, but it does in the sense that the waves get further and further apart. So like 5 years from now, I might have a crying fit about when I think about Rick, or get really sad or something, but those waves will hit metaphorical shore less and less as time goes on. I don't know if that analogy makes sense, but that's how I think of it.
That's a good one. Very good.
So, well, you guys want to do introductions? I'm Mike Davis of the Lovecraft eZine, and Mark.
Mark Rainey, editor of Death Realm and many other scary projects, and scary horror writer.
You're scary, or you're a scary horror writer?
I'm a scary writer of horror. Yeah. Just ask any of these folks.
I've seen some of the places he goes in this geocaching thing, and he's a
Yeah.
scary guy.
Well, I have an announcement. Mr. Alan Hughes is now a regular panelist.
Hello,
What?
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we gotta do the whole initiation thing.
Yeah.
We got to go over the salary structure.
Well, I'm doing this for free, but I heard there were stock options.
Yeah. There are, and they'll do you
Beef.
just as much good.
Beef or chicken?
Fish stock.
Okay, I
Right.
can eat that.
Alan, you want to introduce yourself? Alan's a history teacher, and
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's an artist too.
yes. Well, I was going to let him continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an artist, part-time artist, illustrator, and I write about video games on the website from time to time. So that's my thing.
He does. That's true. I will get your name on the panelist list at the bottom of the page on the Lovecraft eZine website, Alan. If you don't see it in a week or so, would you just remind me, because it won't be for any other reason than absent-mindedness. So, and by the way, when we have panelists and we lose them to death, I keep them on that list. Joe Pulver's still on that list at the bottom of that page. If you go to Lovecraft eZine's website and then you click on podcast, you scroll down, there's a list of panelists. And Joe will always be on there. Rick will always be on there. I should put Matt on there sometime. That might be. How many years have you been with us? What do you think, Matt?
What, you started in 2011?
You're on there. So
So it's like Mike is really, he is an emotional
Is he? I
guy.
keep scratching Matt's name off of there.
It's like once I called Mike and I told him, "Hey, Mike, I'm going to be in Dallas and I can come visit." He just started crying. Oh no.
Yeah, that's not quite how it happened, but I have deep feelings, if that's what you're trying to say. Matt, you want to introduce yourself after you're done making fun of me?
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm somewhere between Ames and Carroll, Iowa, on the road.
You're in Iowa. That's what's important.
We did not have a Lovecraft eZine movie night this week, but next week we'll have another one. We're probably going to be showing some kind of show that stars a blob creature, but we'll see.
Ooh.
A blob creature.
Is it gonna be whatever Undying? Or
one of the choices is Kaltiki, the immortal monster.
yes.
And there's a few others, like I think the first spaceship on Venus is about a blob monster. That's one of the choices.
I was surprised. I had not seen Kaltiki until about 5 years ago.
Really? You got to be kidding me. It was a staple of my childhood.
Yeah, it was not. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know why I never saw this before. It's really a good movie.
What's the name of it?
Kaltiki, the immortal monster.
Yeah, it is good.
I haven't seen it.
Well, let's be careful about using words like, good.
Well,
it's enjoyable.
It's not a dud. It's not a bad movie.
Right.
Mark, Darren on the live chat says, really enjoyed the Dark Shadows podcast with Rick and Mark. I believe that was a Patreon podcast a year or so back, wasn't it?
Okay.
That we did.
Okay. I seem to be cutting in and out of
Well,
here.
that's
I
because
think
you're
that's just
outside.
well, I'm sitting. Wi-Fi's right on the other side of this wall.
It's
Usually it's
sunspots,
great.
man.
So, yeah,
Sunspot.
that's it. Okay, I think that's better. I connected to the extension there.
Well, anyway, he
Okay.
said really enjoyed the Dark Shadows podcast with Rick and Mark from a while back. That was a Patreon podcast, if
hmm
memory serves. So
Yeah, and I've done several with Rick, like with Penny Dreadful and stuff that went back a good ways. In fact, I can't remember if I met Rick here first or if it was on like Penny Dreadful, because either one of those go back a long way.
yeah, yeah, we've been around a while. Did you introduce yourself, Mark? You did.
Mhm.
Okay, Pete.
Hey, Pete Rollick, writer and not so scary horror writer.
hmm
Is
Book
too.
lover,
He's a lover, not a fighter.
part-time mechanic,
Yeah,
fisherman. That's in quotes, fisherman. Just, you know.
and okay, so Oreo refused to stay in one place when I was setting this up, but there she is. Here's the wide cam for the book house. That's me. And yeah, cozy.
You
So
need an aquarium.
uh, those are work, man. Those are too much work. Unless you want to
Well, I don't
come.
know. You just put in water, and when the fish die, you put in more fish. It's really not
Yeah,
that bad.
Okay.
you can get like a dozen, goldfish for $1.
Goldfish are ugly, and they have big turds.
I better go to gallery view because Mr. Carpenter does not have his camera on. We want to see you driving.
We do not want to see him driving.
Igor says an aquarium with Lovecraftian fish. All right, so there
Sure.
are a lot of people watching, and I love it when you comment. So
There are
please
some
do.
really, like Plecostomus, what people call plecos. A lot of catfish with those great tentacly barbs, loaches, knife fish, elephant nose. We're not, and I'm just staying in the fish category. We could always go into octopuses and crayfish, crabs,
Oh
snails.
my gosh! No! If you have an aquarium with crabs or crayfish, you don't put fish in it.
I've
They
had
eat,
some.
they eat
I've had
any damn
success.
thing.
They will. I've had success with putting fiddler crabs in.
Well, fiddler crabs are a little different than underwater crabs.
Well, yeah.
Well,
But you know what's the latest actual thing that I've been thinking about doing is there are these things I think they're called vampire crabs. They're tiny. They're like no more than say a centimeter big as an adult.
All right.
And people are setting up these really nice half aquatic, half land displays, and then with
why are we talking about
lots
this?
of well,
Because
someone mentioned
you
crafty
need
in
an aquarium.
aquariums.
Yeah.
No.
Years ago in Death Realm, I ran a story by Jeff Oziers called "Don't Clean the Aquarium," and it's about this critter that actually he had put like this rock in the aquarium, and it sprouted some kind of barbed all these weird appendages and stuff on it, and it murked up the water, so you really couldn't see it, but it was hungry all the time, so you had to like drop little children in the aquarium and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It would take care of them.
The guy in the fish shop when I was a kid, he got this plants in from South America that he was going to sell, and one of them came with a larva attached, and then he had this really vicious insect predator in his tank. It's like,
Nice.
oh my gosh, it was like wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
All right, and Tim Lone Gun, you have spectacular timing because I just got a Facebook Messenger message. I don't see the whole thing, but it flashed on my screen from Tim about, he's one of my patrons, about Necronomicon. Yes, I am going. I think we're all going. Alan, are you and your wife going?
Just me.
Just you. Okay. Um, yes, we always do a Patreon dinner, right, Pete?
Yeah, but you know what? You haven't been to Necronomicon until you've partied with Alan.
No
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a reputation to uphold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happens in Providence stays in Providence.
This will be my first Necronomicon and probably
Oh,
my first party with Alan. So I don't know. Some of that stuff may end up in a story. You know,
so
Alan will probably end up in a
Wait
story.
wait a
Maybe come
second.
to a bad end.
Wait a second. We are doing the dinner, right, Pete? Can you help
yeah, we'll
arrange
do the
that?
dinner. We'll
Okay.
find a place.
All right. We're doing the dinner. If you're a Patreon, we're doing the dinner. And it's for Patreons only. Now, next question. Can Pete pay for everyone's dinner? No. And neither can I.
Oh, wait, be careful here. You could,
I
but you
could,
won't.
but I would not be able to pay my
Yeah,
rent
yeah,
the
I know.
next month. Okay.
No.
So, but that said, we do a dinner for patrons every Necronomicon, and it's a blast. And I appreciate you guys. Pete appreciates you too. Don't you, Pete?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
All right.
So,
Go on.
all right. So, Mark, the first time we were at Necronomicon, we were out and we were at this Irish pub around the corner, and it was about 11:30 at night on a Friday night. And all of a sudden, all these guys in business suits with slick back hair, like the whole bar just filled with like Wall Street guys. And we're like, what the hell just happened? Because 1 minute there was nobody, and the next minute the whole place is full.
That's
And
great,
we're like,
great.
oh, all right, yeah. It was like, this is weird. And then about 30 minutes later, all this silicone walked in. Bleach blondes, silicone, tight dresses, and the women we were with got really, really uncomfortable. And we got our check in. We left and we went back to the bar at the hotel and had drinks there. And we were talking to the bartender. And what she told us is that in the state of Rhode Island, prostitution is legal
It is.
as long as
I
it's
had
done
no idea.
indoors.
As long as it's what?
Indoors.
Okay.
Well, prostitution is legal
Really?
in every state as long as you're filming it.
Well, yeah, but you need permits for that.
No, that's true. Anyway,
But yeah, and I've talked with people who actually live in Providence, and they say, yeah, this happens. It's a weird little thing
see, there you go. People who were on the fence about going to Necronomicon, now that pushed them over. Yes, absolutely. But this will not be that kind of dinner. I just want to clarify that. So.
No, I'm just giving, but it's because cities are different, and this is something that was weird. It happened. Anyway.
Yeah.
I guess I should not tell that story anymore. Otherwise, Alan's not going to be able to come.
Yeah, if you want my wife to let me go.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Actually, it's terrible that this kind of thing can happen, Pete. Which bar was it? Just to be clear.
It's not. I think it was Morgan's.
Can we move on?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
All right. All right. I'm going to get into. I have a few announcements and so forth, but we'll get into those later.
You.
Huh? Just 2 or 3. Remember for those of you who don't know, Late Night with Lovecraft eZine is now a regular thing. So every Thursday night, you can watch me be a visual DJ, I guess. It's every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern. which would be 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Pacific. Well, let's see, it would be 4 in the morning if you're in the UK. It was an experiment, and man, it turns out people really love it. So I now have a playlist on the Lovecraft eZine YouTube page, and you can check out the old ones
Cool.
if you want to. So it's a lot of fun. I just wanted to make anyone aware who listens to this edition of the podcast that now we have 2 editions. So all right, so have you guys heard of an upcoming movie? I guess it's played at some film festivals called I Saw the TV Glow. No?
I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, okay, so a classmate introduces teenage Owen to a mysterious late night TV show, a vision of a supernatural world beneath their own. In the pale glow of the television, Owen's view of reality begins to crack. I am not quite sure when it's coming out, but I cannot wait to see it. Maybe I can con someone into giving me a screener.
Is it a movie or a TV show?
It's a movie. So here's something interesting about it, though. Here's an article. If the click will work. Okay, there we go. Here's the headline. A small important cameo in I Saw the TV Glow is meant as justice for Tara on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you remember, Tara was murdered near the end of season 6, and Willow went nuts and turned into Dark Willow and immediately set about kicking Buffy's ass, and then was well on her way to destroying the world out of grief. Well, I guess the director of I Saw the TV Glow is Jane Shorbrun. I'll just read the article. New movie I Saw the TV Glow has sparked a wave of excited buzz and a sharp spike at the indie box office during its slow rollout in limited release. Like Showbrun's, I don't know if I'm saying their name right, Showbrun's previous movie, We're All Going to the World's Fair. Are you guys familiar with that one? TV Glow was a sensation at Sundance and a subsequent critical hit. Both movies have won fans with their queasy, dreamy, late-night tone and the way they tap into familiar feelings of dread and alienation, compounded with the relief that can come from finding a fandom and sharing an obsession with other people. In World's Fair, we won't. That's a good movie. TV Glow centers on a late-night TV show called The Pink Opaque, about 2 girls using their psychic connection and magical matching glowing tattoos to save the world from evil. So, The Pink Opaque is a TV show in this movie. The director in a Q&A was talking about how I feel old. When they were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer when it started, they were age 10. I really did live and breathe Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Showbrun said. I cared about Buffy more than I cared about real life. And just having that consistency when I was like 10, I watched the first season of the show when it aired and was with it for 7 years. And it was such a tool of dissociation for me. It was in hindsight, I think, very much a coping mechanism. Moving on. Like so many fans at the time. Now, this movie, I Saw the TV Glow, is not about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But that said, let's see here. I lost my place. Like so many fans at the time, Showbrun was appalled when the show killed off Tara, played by Amber Benson, girlfriend of longtime series co-lead Willen Rosenberg, played by Allison Hannigan. So this really bothered her. I get it. Huge fan of a show. And so they go on, it's no coincidence that one of the heroes of the Pink Opaque, which is the fictional TV show inside this fictional movie, is named Tara. And it's also no coincidence that when the movie's protagonist, Pink Opaque Fan Owen, goes looking for comfort in a crucial moment, he finds it with a woman played by Amber Benson in a brief cameo. So I just thought that was really interesting. So, you grow up watching a show and then become a director, and then you're able to Mike Flanagan one of those actors and get him to be in one of your movies.
So
So,
Mike, I never really watched Buffy very much when it came out.
mhm.
Was there a reason they killed off the character? I mean, what was the story behind the story?
I think the short version is Joss Whedon just just felt like killing her off to cause Willow to go nuts. So, but that's just my opinion. Um, but yeah, uh, it 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 was a shock. Yeah, definitely. But all of that said, this movie, I saw the TV glow, sounds just my kind of thing. You know, I can't wait to see it. So, what have you guys been watching and reading lately?
I saw a movie. It's what was it called? Color from the Dark. I think it was an Italian movie that's basically The Color Out of Space.
Mm-hmm.
And the adaptation isn't bad. I mean, it's not a great film, but it had a cool atmosphere, and it did capture a lot of the main points of the Lovecraft story. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I don't remember if somebody mentioned that here. It might have been.
Well,
Uh,
there's like, I don't know. It's like there's actually 8 or so movies that refer back to The Color Out of Space.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah.
It was striking to me how many like Die Monster Die. It's like they're
Right. The
quite a few.
Curse was one, I think.
Right, but that's one I want to see. The one that you mentioned, that Italian one. It's one of the ones I haven't seen yet.
I don't
I
know.
think that was on Tubi, maybe.
Uh-huh.
There's been
I could
so
look that
many
up. I mean,
Color
it
Out of
was
Space
it was easy to find.
adaptations that I've lost all interest in seeing anymore, no matter how good they may be. It's just adapt
Say,
something else for Christ's sake.
I'm saying,
Right.
bring 'em
I
on.
was just telling that to my wife too. I said, I wish they would take these resources and adapt one of the other tales.
Yeah, yeah. What, Matt?
I'm saying, bring them on, baby.
Yeah. I mean, there are other Lovecraft stories if you really want to, adapt a Lovecraft story. So, Matt, you want to talk about Roger Corman?
Well, the thing is, the guy was what, 95 or 6?
I think 98.
Yeah, it's like he's been around. Like, I think his first movies were done before I was born.
Yeah.
And that's like ancient history. It's like, was there a time in my life when I wasn't aware of something he had his hands in? From the Haunted Palace, which is basically the tale of Charles Dexter Ward, he directed, and then he produced the famous Dean Stockwell, the Dunwich Horror. Anything. He did anything. Death Race 2000, Humanoid.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
But the thing is, that's not just what he did. He was distribution producer for some like important artistic films like Herzog's Fitzcarraldo, the movie Cabeza de Vaca, which is about an explorer in South America. I mean, so he had some artistic chops too, but this is a guy, it seems to me his whole life, he just loved what he was doing.
And so many of the great 70s directors got their start for Roger Corman. I mean, Coppola,
98. Wow.
Jonathan Demme.
And a lot of
Yeah.
actors were the first to work for him too. Like, was it Burt Reynolds was in The Raven? No, I'm sorry, not Burt Reynolds. Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
And The Little Shop of Horrors.
See, the guy just loved what he was doing, and everything I heard about him, I never met him personally, but he just seemed to really love interacting with fans and sharing his enthusiasm for all the stuff he did.
Yeah, that's just so. That can't be overstated. How wonderful that is. It's just to know who you are and love what you're doing. So did you guys have do you guys have favorite movies of his?
Just from a Lovecraft perspective, I have had a lot of fun over the years with the Dunwich Horror. Even though it sucks, it's not a good movie, but it's super enjoyable. The first time I saw it on the big screen was in San Pedro at the HPL Film Festival. They did the Dunwich Horror Picture Show, which was like Rocky Horror, except they showed the Dunwich Horror. And they had people in costumes just running around, goofing off on stage. They're supposedly acting out the story, but I think they were all drunk and doing whatever the hell they wanted. What a blast. What a good testament to his movies.
Yeah, I had mentioned when I came on, I'd watched Attack of the Crab Monsters today. That was kind of an old favorite because when I didn't see that probably until I was a teenager, but the pictures from it that they ran in Famous Monsters of Filmland that showed the crab creatures and everything, I thought, okay, that I'm going to love that. And it actually is kind of a weirdly creepy movie for a while, and I'd have to put that high up on my favorites list.
I was the right age to watch Battle Beyond the Stars when that came out, so I was ready for any Star Wars ripoff.
Yeah, that was really good, actually.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Well, just watch Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and that'll.
Yeah.
No, don't.
Yeah, I love Watchmen. I love Man of Steel. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman v Superman, extended edition. But Rebel Moon, I didn't even try. It just looks like he's throwing everything against the wall to see what would stick. I saw the trailer, someone pulls out a lightsaber, and I'm like, what the hell? This is not a Star Wars movie, is it?
Well,
It was pitched as a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, but it's not one now, right?
Right.
My God, no. But merciful both ways, I suppose. But about Roger Corman, he was also an actor. And I think he had a lot of movies where he had bit parts in movies that were actually pretty high quality just because he loved doing that stuff and everybody liked him.
He was the senator in Godfather too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for those who are watching now and later, you can comment on the side, but comment below with your favorite Roger Corman movie. Commenting below helps the algorithm. That's another way you can help the show. So yeah. But 98 years old. I'd love to live to 98.
Well, 98, and he had his faculties, and he was
Right.
still at the end, still doing what the hell he loved. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be watching Roger Corman movies now and again.
Right.
Not many people had that for not like. This is not like high art, or it's not haute cuisine. But it's just fun.
But The Raven is great, a great movie.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
You talking about the John Cusack movie?
No,
Okay, I didn't think so.
no. There's a old movie with Boris Karloff, Peter Lorre, and Vincent Price. And Vincent Price and Boris Karloff are wizards on opposite sides of a love triangle. And they end up doing this really campy but wonderfully fun magical duel.
Yeah, I've
So
never seen a Roger Corman movie.
I might look at his filmography and then tell me you
Yeah.
didn't.
Well,
He's got hundreds. Not only was he a producer for like 50 films, like he directed 100 films and he acted in 50 others. It's like,
oh, well, I'm talking
sure,
about a directed one. That one that he directed. At least
I bet.
not to my memory. So
Yeah, that's fine. Just look at his filmography. I bet
I
you
will.
have.
Oh well.
Yeah.
All right. So there's for Pete.
Yeah.
Your new book is already sold out.
Yeah, well, the whatchamacallit, the limited edition, yes.
Title?
There's going to be that was wonderful news, that came out this week. Is like I woke up one morning and there's like, oh, there's only 11 copies left. And then when I went to check, there were only 2 copies left. And by the time I put the post up, it was sold out.
Yet, what's the title?
The Cthulhu Heresy and Other Lovecraftian Sins.
Right.
So, yep.
But this is the expensive limited edition one.
Yes.
So that's especially. I mean, congratulations, sincerely.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
When
will the next edition be?
We're supposed to have copies for Necronomicon.
Okay. Who's the
But
publisher?
I have not. It's Weird House. Joe Morey is doing a wonderful job here.
Is he going to have a table at Necronomicon?
I believe Lawson said that the answer to that is yes.
Well, you will. I think Niels has given me one. You can have a corner.
Because they have quite a few Lovecraftian titles from that label.
Yes, that label. I had thought that other companies would have taken the place of Arkham House, but it looks like Weird House is stepped up and hit the mark.
Yeah.
Looks like they do a quality product. They're scouring the internet for writers, and it looks like it's working.
Yeah.
So
if you are interested in their books, because they're high quality, very attractive books, but you have a little bit of time to play with, but not much. I know, like Jeff Thomas's Hades books, the hardcovers, sold out in a blink.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the time I heard about it, they were gone.
I have, Jeffrey Thomas has a new book out this year called The Spirit of Place. It's a hardcover limited edition, and to my knowledge, that's going to be the only edition. And I think it's now impossible to get it. Here it is. Spirit of Place by Jeffrey Thomas, and it's set in his unnamed country, Matt. Blurbs by Paul Wilson, Brian Evanson, Michael Marshall Smith. Sorry, what, you guys?
I really like the stories he's doing with that.
Absolutely.
I'm in the middle of, actually, I'm getting pretty close to finish of the Gods of the Unnamed Country. Really, really liking that.
Yeah. For everyone listening out there, you always enjoy our recommendations. You should Google Jeffrey Thomas and Unnamed Country, and get the list of books that and stories that he's been setting in the Unnamed Country. Matt, I believe you can explain this better than I can. You want to tell the audience more or less what the Unnamed Country is?
Absolutely, I cannot.
You have before. Let me see if it's on the cover here. Maybe Pete can.
No, what I've talked about is Scott
Oh, here it
Thomas
is.
and Westermead.
All right. Okay. History is formed from layers which often rest uneasily on each other, and this is true even of a land so mysterious and hidden from the rest of the world that it calls itself the unnamed country. But no place remains unknown forever, and now with the coming of outsiders, a westernized shopping center looms where an ancient temple once stood, and in turn, the temple was built upon a spot where life far older than humans dwelt. Zuen is a young woman who works at this shopping mall, and in those quiet moments when it shuts down for the night, she begins to see strange figures. On her dark walk home to her apartment, she feels followed. Zuen becomes convinced that the place where she works is haunted, but not by some ordinary ghost with a grudge. As she becomes increasingly obsessed with these experiences, Zuen suspects that the ghost could essentially be the mall itself, a ghost of the past, a spirit of place. Brian Evanson says Thomas is an expert at allowing unsettling moments to slowly bubble up and accumulate and erupt. The Spirit of Place is a quietly powerful book, an original and resonant act of imagination about a character's unraveling. If you know Thomas's work, you may already be braced for what he can do to you, know how good his writing is at worming through your defenses, but knowing won't save you. If you can get a copy of this book, do it. But if you can't, or whether you, even if you can or you can't, read his book set in the unnamed country. I mean, read all of his work, but that's just especially interesting to me, you know?
Yeah, same.
I gotta say, I think I've said it before. He was actually not writing very much some years ago. It was just very difficult for him. And then because he was working full time, and it was like, I don't think he had a very enjoyable job. And then he decided to, like, at age 62, he just said, I'm taking Social Security and I'm retiring because this is very difficult for me to raise my daughter and not really make very much money. And now he's got this stable Social Security income, and he's gone back to writing. Like, wow. I
Yeah,
mean, the things he's writing now are just great.
yeah.
We're so lucky.
I mean, Punktown has been around. His creation of Punktown has been around for what, decades, and it's amazing. But you can see how his skill has really grown. So this is a test. I don't know if Jeff Thomas watches or listens to every episode. So I'm going to see if he emails me sometime this week. I'm not going to tell him we talked about him, but he deserves it. The man is talented. He's a hell of a nice guy. And he's not writing because he's getting huge paychecks, but he's putting out these books that will be read long after he's gone because they're amazing,
I
amazing
believe
work.
he's coming to Necronomicon, isn't he?
Yeah, he
I
lives
think so.
pretty
He
close.
usually does. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met him face to face. I've known him for 30 some years, through writing and editing and all that stuff. But I'm really looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah, right. When we did a Patreon podcast with him, when I did one with him, what, 3 months ago, Mark, something like that,
That
you came on
sounds
too,
right. Yeah,
and that was the first time you guys were actually more or less face to face, but you've known each other for decades.
right.
Yeah. So
So, like, the last Necronomicon, he doesn't live far away. I don't remember exactly where he lives, but he just drove down for Saturday to spend the day. He brought his daughter Jade. Um, so I don't know if he's going to actually go and get a hotel or anything, but he may just come down for a drive down for a day.
yeah, I think that's what he
And then,
usually does.
and then he bebops around, goes to the dealer room, says hi to everybody, and then he goes home.
Yeah. Speaking of conventions, also I will be going. I have a day pass to Frightmare. Is it Frightmare? The Texas convention in Dallas convention next week. Frightmare, Dallas. Yeah, that's it. Bridget and Mike, I guess they go every year, and I'm about 45 minutes to an hour, not even an hour from Dallas. So I think they're going the entire weekend, but Danielle and Logan and I got tickets, and we're going to meet up and hang around with them on Saturday at Frightmare. So
Take a bunch of pictures.
I will. The gal who starred in Scream is going to be there. What's her name?
Nev Campbell.
Yeah, Nev Campbell. I'll click on guests here. David Arquette, Charles Band, whoever that is. Wayne Bell.
You don't know who Charles Band is?
A lot of pop cultural references are lost on me, Pete.
Okay.
Produced Reanimator for one thing.
Okay.
Many others.
Wayne Bell, Ron Bozeman, Nev Campbell, Sean S. Cunningham. Let's see, Joe Dante, Sarah Deck, Kevin Durand. He was the guy in that vampire series from Guillermo del Toro. I forget the name of that.
What was that?
Strain.
Yes, thank you. Let's see, who else do I know here? Danielle Harris. Oh, Kane Hodder is going to be there. I think Bridget was pretty excited about that one. Michael Ironside is going to be there.
Oh, nice.
Doug Jones. Yeah, man, a lot of people.
Wow, that's cool.
Juliette Lewis, Matthew Lillard, Jason Patrick. See, Pete, I do know some of these people. Skeet Yorich, so a couple of Scream people, at least 3 Scream people. So anyway, we're gonna have a good time. I'll tell you guys all about it next Sunday. So yeah, you can grab a plane ticket, Pete, and rush on over here and join us. No. Quit looking at your phone. See, I know what you're doing.
Pete's muted to me.
Yeah,
I'm having 6 conversations right now, and it's a pain in the ass.
All right. There's a couple of audio dramas that were recommended to me. The first one is called Tower 4. Started listening to that. Tower 4 is a fictional episodic podcast series from Seven Lambs that combines mystery, thriller, and horror elements. It follows Mike Archer, a new fire watcher in the Wyoming woods, who begins to experience strange noises and radio interference.
That sounds promising.
Yeah, I like it so far.
I like that idea.
I do too.
Isolation.
Yeah, and the only person he's close enough to talk to on the radio is a lady that's in Tower 3. So it's really, really, yeah, I like that setup a lot. So check that out. The other one
of the movie Lovely, Dark, and Deep, one of the attractions was the isolation of the rangers who are deep in the backcountry.
Right. The other one was recommended to me by a patron and listener. It's called Petrified, and I just started listening to a bit of this last night, and so far I really like what I'm hearing, and it's not episodic like Tower 4. It's a horror fiction anthology podcast from a darker Ireland. Petrified tells the chilling tales of ordinary people encountering the supernatural and their terrifying fates. All of these are on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. Um, he told me that I would especially like, and the episode called, why isn't my computer doing this? That's not what it's called. All right. Bleed Through, no, Little Cakes. He said I would really like that one, which is like episode 6 or something. But I'm starting at the beginning with an episode called Dead Air, which is, if my laptop ever cooperates, I can tell you what that one is. And oh yeah, here we go. Kind of the same kind of thing. A late night radio show host in a remote station receives increasingly disturbing calls from his listeners out there in the dark.
What was that? What was that? Was it Australian or New Zealand? The one that we liked with the rate the call-in radio show.
What's that,
Pontypool.
Pontypool?
No,
That
no,
was
no,
a
no. It was kind of funny actually.
Oh, it's Australian. Yeah, the one that went for one season.
Yes.
Oh my God. I love that show. Oh, let's see. What is it? Let's Google
It'll
it.
come to us. It'll come to us later.
Yeah, at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Absolutely.
Google it now, though. Australian. Because if you guys haven't seen it, can you describe it, Pete, while I'm looking it up?
No, I can't. I mean, I remember really enjoying it, but it was sort of like was it some slacker guy who
Yeah,
ran a radio station, call-in radio station out of like a trailer, and then every once in a while he'd get this weird call, and then he would go investigate and
the strange calls. That's what it is.
strange calls. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, what it is, yeah, the strange calls television series, and it is so weird. You got to kind of go into it with the mindset. So this young cop is sent to this town. I forget the name of the town, and he is, I guess, not looking forward to it. And so he's supposed to listen to these to the calls at night,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be just a regular job. But he runs into this old man who is in the who always is sitting in the what is it? Basically just a trailer that the
Yeah.
cops he's supposed to take the calls from the townspeople at night if there's an emergency, things like that. And the old man is in there like he basically owns the place. And these it's impossible to describe, but it's so funny. So I don't think we did it justice, Pete.
Was this a podcast or a
No, TV show.
TV show?
Yeah, it was like a low budget TV show. It kind of reminded me of Monsters from the 80s or 90s. It had that kind of level of film, but it was fun.
Yeah. I watched it originally on Hulu, and I don't know where you can watch it now. I don't even know. I don't think you can even rent it on Amazon in the States.
See that okay, so that's funny to me, right? When when all this streaming stuff started, we thought this was going to be the golden age of television. That we were going to be able to see all this stuff from forever.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody would go out there and they would just start archiving and they would make everything available. And then as new things were added, it would be available forever. And it hasn't worked out that way. Things
No,
disappear.
it's back to having 12 streaming services and you can't get to what you want.
Right.
It looks like it may be available on Roku, which I will say the Roku channel and Tubi, and what's the other free one? They do a really good job of having shows that you can't find in a lot of places. And they do have commercials, but they're very, they go by quickly. They're like 60 seconds long or 30 seconds long.
Which one is owned by Amazon? Is it Tubi
It's
or
Freevee.
Freebie, I think. Yeah.
Freevee? Yeah.
Stupid
I
name.
thought Amazon owned everything.
Well, I was not happy when Bosch Legacy went to Freevee instead of Prime.
Yeah, that seems stupid.
It was stupid. It is stupid. And having to watch commercials when I went through 7 seasons of Bosch without having to watch a commercial. You know.
Strangely enough, Amazon's going to have the new Batman animated cartoon. And that's one of the reasons I thought Warner Brothers created HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's set in the 40s. The Cape Crusader is the title of it.
When does it come out? I'm really looking forward to this.
Pretty soon. Let me check.
Well, for anyone who's interested in the Strange Calls while Alan's checking, see if you can watch it on Roku. This Roku page says that you can, but yeah, I found a lot of hard to find shows on Tubi and on the Roku channel. And there's one more that I can't think of, but Freevee is not the one I'm thinking of.
The other thing that bothers me is that unless you know what you're looking for, sometimes it's impossible to find. Nobody advertises what they've got.
Yeah.
And
Well, for me, it's like just finding certain movies that aren't popular, or like try and stream Monolith Monsters. You can't.
right.
Try and stream Alan Quartermass in the Pit. It's just impossible.
The Colossus of New York.
Now, I just saw Monolith Monsters pop up the other day when I was scrolling through something.
Oh, where? I've been looking for a streaming version of that.
I don't know. It might have even been Shudder. It's hard to remember because I do so much scrolling from screen to screen, like you said, kind of, trying to find shit. I do have Monolith Monsters on DVD, so I didn't really, I saw it and I thought, well, that's cool, but I didn't stop on it or go to it.
See, for me, I'm looking for things that I can stream on Hyperbeam.
Yeah.
And it's like a really difficult time showing DVDs.
Yeah. Guys, I apologize to the audience. I'm still navigating my way around doing the live shows again. Everyone loves the live shows, but just bear with me while I figure things out. And I had Zoom on my screen minimized while I looked for the strange calls, and I didn't think that would affect the audience, but apparently it did. I think you guys could still hear me though, right? Could still hear us talking in the audience, but anyway, I'm sorry about that. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. So, but let me know if you could still hear us. So yeah, well, I won't let that happen again, but that's what happened. So yeah, I've been wanting to rewatch The Strange Calls Pete, so I'm gonna check Roku later and see if it's there.
You know what I sat down and watched today with my girls? The Matrix.
Wow.
Yeah. They had never seen it.
Did you tell them that there are no sequels?
We did. In fact, my wife said that there were no sequels. And then my daughter was like, but there's the resurrection. And we're like, no, that doesn't have anything to do with this movie.
Boy, they were bad, but the latest one was just horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's Resurrection. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So have you guys seen a trailer or read about a horror movie called Abigail?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yes.
Everybody has seen Abigail's trailer.
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, it's interesting.
I mean, you
I'm
know what's
not-
going to happen, so it just comes down to performance,
Well,
right?
Well,
Yeah.
no, the thing is, like, when I saw it, there's nothing original about it. Do you know what I mean? Except she's a little ballerina. They
Right.
already gave away the big reveal,
Yeah.
the commercial, whatever.
See, it would be
And it's like,
much better if in the trailer you knew that the the thieves, right, or something, the adults that come into the house to kidnap her or whatever they're going to do are afraid of something, but they don't show what it is. And then you're watching the movie and you find out that this little ballerina is a vampire, and
but Mike,
that
there's
would be
nothing
quite the twist at that point.
but there's nothing original about the movie. It's like the jump scares, things that are thrown in just to have a gross visual, the way the vampires act, the way
Have you
everyone
seen it?
behaves. It's like, yeah, it's just, I thought it was like,
You saw the movie or you saw the trailer?
I saw the movie.
So
There's nothing to do in Carol, so I watched Abigail in the theater with a bucket of popcorn.
two thumbs
I just
down.
think it's like, well, no, it's not that it's terrible. It's just I don't think it's anything special. I do think if you were going to have a bunch of friends over for a party and you showed that movie and then everyone did a shot every time she danced, you would have a great time.
All right, here's a doobie. Take a puff every time she dances.
No, that'd be awesome. Like you could do that. Like you could really do that. That'd be fun. That would be a fun night.
Yeah, like I said, it's you know, I think anybody who watched it who likes vampire movies would like it well enough. And it's just like, they got some big actors in small parts. And
What is a movie called Ready or Not? Is that one you guys were telling me about a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently it takes place in the same universe
Right.
for
Yes.
some reason.
Why?
This makes me happy
I
thinking
was like,
of
the thing is, they do threaten a sequel at the end of Abigail. It's like they said, we'll show you there's going to be a sequel.
well, the important thing is if you went to a theater and you got your bowl of popcorn and everything, were there good trailers at the beginning? Any good trailers?
That's a no.
That's a no. If you can't, yeah, that's a no.
Well, it's like, how many times have you gone to the movie theaters in the last 5-8 years and really, really enjoyed yourself? I mean, it's like,
Well, I've only gone 3 times in the last 5 to 8 years.
the last Mission Impossible movie was really a great
Oh yeah.
theater experience. Otherwise, it's like recently I saw, what's it called, The Fall Guy.
Ugh.
There is nothing about this movie that's particularly special. It's just fun. It's like it's a popcorn flick. There's stunts that are fun. There's dialogue that's kind of funny.
Well, I'm just picturing you in small town Iowa by yourself with a big bowl of popcorn watching a vampire ballerina movie. So that makes me happy for some reason.
You know what it reminds me of? The last scene of In the Mouths of Madness, where Sam Neill is in the movie theater by himself eating popcorn, watching the movie that he just...
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I imagine Matt Carpenter.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, to be honest, there have been no more than 5 to 8 people in any of the movies that have gone here.
Yeah, no, it's a dying art form.
And most of them are in my age demographic.
80s?
Yeah, about.
Old. Yeah, well, more and more it seems like if there even if there are only 5 or 8 people in the theater, somebody's always got their damn phone on.
Right.
Tell me about it.
And it's like I no longer much care to go see movies where I am not in control of my environment.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Especially when you have to pay those prices.
No, when I end up spending $30, $40, $50 to go to a movie, I want to watch the movie, not your phone.
Yeah.
I lucked
Okay,
out when
but
I
you,
went to see Godzilla -1 over in Danville a while back because it was an afternoon show. I was the only living soul in the theater, and it was a big ass theater, so that was great. I mean, not necessarily great for their business, but boy, I sure enjoyed it.
I always used to
What-
love going when I
remember
was younger in my 20s, going in the middle of the day in a hot summer day, going in the middle of the day to a cool theater, watching a
Oh yeah,
movie.
Yeah.
I'm the only one in there. It was so peaceful.
I can
God,
remember we used to go down when we were at the beach or the shore, and it was a rainy day. You couldn't go fishing, you couldn't go to the beach. Everyone would load up and we'd go watch. We watched 2 or 3 movies. You know,
do
just
you guys remember the show Married with Children?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this one particular scene where the Bundys go to the movie and they like go to the concession stand and they're just screaming and yelling and acting like children and getting all this stuff. And they says, and then the girl at the counter, they says, "How much is it?" She says, $100. And they got all this popcorn and candy. They're saying like, "We don't want this stuff." It's like nowadays it's freaking true.
Yeah. All right. I have an
The
ethical.
best thing about some of the movies or the theaters around is that nowadays you can get beer and wine in there, which makes the experience a little more tolerable.
And more than just popcorn, but you have to be careful with that. I have an
All
ethical
right, well,
question for you guys and for the audience. Okay. Um, I have talked about this movie for several years, and I think that I recommended it so much on the show that a lot of people bought it, and it's got pretty scarce online, drove the prices up. I'm talking about a movie called, or excuse me, a book called Displaced Person by
yeah,
Lee
about that.
Harding. Yeah, I've
Yep.
talked about this. The reason why I'm bringing it up again, this was published in 79, I believe, 1979. And this was, I didn't know it at the time, my first introduction to cosmic horror. Yeah, 1979. I've got this edition and I've got the hardcover edition. That was before the prices went up. It's not available in Kindle. It's not available as an audiobook. The average person, this is a really, really, really good read. Okay, but I think the cheapest I've found is like $50 online.
so can I make a suggestion, Mike?
Yeah.
This is something I used a lot when my kids were young. People could go to the local library and use interlibrary loan.
No,
They can get
yeah.
it for free.
I'm
So
I know, but I've talked to people about that too, and some people have had trouble even getting it that way. Here is my ethical question. What I would like to do is read this to the Patreons, a chapter at a time. Narrate it to the Patreons, and it would
you
not be
got,
available to the public. I have
Did you
contacted.
figure out he's still alive?
He's not still alive.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say is he's not alive. I've contacted friends of his. I don't know if his family owns the rights. I don't know if anybody owns the rights anymore, quite
well,
frankly.
who was the publisher?
Puffin.
Okay, so the thing is, you get into an issue. This is why they limit the number of seats in Hyperbeam. You get into an issue if they're giving you money to read the story. So I'd be very careful about
Yeah.
doing this in any way where they might come back and say, "Well, you got to pay us."
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. My only motivation really, I mean, is to allow some people to hear this story that can't otherwise. And I was talking to Ben Handelman about it. He said it's almost like an advertisement for the book, and maybe someone would do an edition. Um, I remember when Millennium, the Millennium TV series way back in the day, was not available anywhere. It's still not available streaming, but it wasn't available on DVD. It wasn't available on VHS, nothing. So this guy created his own DVDs, and he would give them away. And he said that the minute that they released Millennium on DVD for the general public, he would stop doing that. And that's exactly what he did. So that's sort of what I had in mind. But, I just, as hokey as it may sound, I always want to do the right thing. That's my main motivation. Secondary motivation is, you're right, I don't want to get sued or anything, Matt. But this book
I'm
is
sorry,
almost
sorry,
as old as I am. Jeez.
I have to go. So I appreciate being on the show again, but I got to go now. So
All
I
right.
just got to Carol.
Something I said.
Take care.
See you, Matt.
Bye.
Later, Matt.
You guys agree with Matt? What do you think?
Yeah, you need to be careful there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You never know what kind of cans of worms something like that might open up. That seems unlikely under the circumstances.
But you never know.
If you did a teaser or a preview of it, not necessarily the complete work, that might be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could read like the first 3 pages or something. I can't see
But
that anyone has a problem
you
with
should
that.
reach out to Puffin and say, hey, I have this, we do this website, we do this podcast.
Right.
I love this book. The author's dead. Is there any way we could dramatize this or just do an audio book of it? It's out of print. What are our, we're not looking for money.
Right. Right.
What do you want to do? Can we do anything?
That's a great idea. I'll do that.
All right.
I don't know why I hadn't thought of just contacting the
That
publisher.
sounds reasonable.
Yeah. All right. Yeah,
Good
I
for Pete.
will. And if I don't get an answer from them, I won't read it. Regardless, because I think you guys are right. It's not worth the risk. So, but if you can afford it and you find it out there somewhere on Abe Books or Amazon or whatnot, you should get it. It's good. So, all right. Well, thanks for the advice, guys. That's yeah. All right. I find myself not. I don't know. I wish Rick was here. I guess that goes without saying.
Yeah. I hear you.
And I hope I'm entertaining the audience today. If not, sorry.
Am I not entertaining?
Well, you guys are entertaining. Yes. Yes. Oh, by the way, my birthday was yesterday.
That's right.
Mike DeBronzo's birthday was the day before yesterday, on May 10th. Mine's May 11th. And today, May the 12th, is Bridget Brenmark's birthday. So.
And today's Mother's Day.
It is, yes.
And mine was last week.
That's right. A lot of May birthdays for the panelists.
A lot of May people.
When's your birthday, Alan?
July 3rd.
July 3rd. Oh, that's my son's birthday.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise's.
Really? But I thought he was born on the 4th of July.
Wow.
You're going to make me turn you off.
I know, right? Wait, no. One of the listeners said that we're all entertaining. So, not just you, Pete. All right. Okay, so when does your book come out again? The Cthulhu Heresy?
It'll be out. I think we're targeting releasing it at Necro.
Right. Okay.
I don't even have signature sheets yet, so.
All right.
I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right.
You can devalue it with a signature for me.
Yeah, of course.
Ouch.
So who was it?
Ouch.
I devalue all my books for people.
Mark, you might remember this. There was like the A to Z to science fictions by James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
There were like 3 volumes, like the history of sci-fi. Remember these?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
And it's not James Gunn, the director. It's the James Gunn who was an editor years ago. These are from the 70s. I have never found a copy of those books that weren't signed. It's just,
You couldn't stop him from signing it.
yeah, it was amazing. It's like every copy I've ever picked up was signed. Anyway,
I've been if you're I get told this about this edition of the show, Thursday nights too, that people really enjoy the movie recommendations, book recommendations, audio drama and audiobook recommendations. Um, social media is kind of in a weird place right now. I am still on X Twitter, mainly on, if you want to stay in the loop on the Lovecraft eZine and with me, Facebook, but I'm also on Blue Sky. All of these are in the links are in the show notes. And I have been doing something lately that I'm really enjoying, and I think a lot of people who follow me are really enjoying, and that's posting book quotes from what I'm reading or rereading, or passages that have really moved me. So if you want to keep up with what I'm reading and get even more recommendations, um, follow me on those socials. But especially, I've started doing this just in the past few days. I've started doing this on the Patreon too. Now, you may not know it. Oh, thanks, Thunder Kitten. Yeah, I think a lot of people love the quotes. So thank you for that. Thanks for the feedback. Um, just this past week, I've started doing this on Patreon. What you may not know is that there's a paid version of Patreon where you get all the benefits, and there is a free version of Patreon. So if you honestly can't afford $5 a month to give towards the Patreon, but you want to follow me on social media and keep up with what's going on. In addition to Facebook, you can join Lovecraft eZine Patreon for free, and you'll get things like the book quotes and things like that. You won't get the Patreon podcasts or any of the other benefits, but it's kind of think of it as an additional social media with a heavy focus on what I'm reading and so forth. So Andrew Gloss has extended his dollar for dollar match through the end of May. I can't believe this. So basically, what that means is that if you become a Patreon in the month of May at $5 a month, he's going to match that $5 a month, and that's going to get me, your 5 is going to become 10 for the month of May. If you're a Patreon and you're at 5 and you go to 10, same deal. If you go up, if you go on Ko-Fi and just do a one-time donation, same deal, or PayPal or whatever. Any donation that you make to the eZine through the Patreon or another place in the month of May will get doubled by him. So first of all, thank you, Andrew. Thanks to all the new patrons. He created I think a lot of people that were thinking, yeah, I really want to get on the eZine Patreon. This pushed them over the edge. So thank you, Andrew. I think really most of us can afford $5 a month. I'm not a used car salesman, so I'll just leave it at that. So if you can help, do so. But if you honestly can't, I get it. Okay, I've been poor enough in my life when I was young that I had to steal food to eat. I understand. If you can't afford the $5 a month, please go ahead and join the version of Patreon, and think of it just kind of as my social media. You're not going to get tricked into anything. It's totally free. So it's kind of a neat way to keep on top of things. So thanks to all of you who listen, and to all of you who are patrons and give in other ways. What else do we have to talk about? Oh yeah, Devil's Background. I was talking about that the other Devil's Backbone, excuse me. Talking about that the other night on the Thursday show. Have you guys seen that? The Del Toro movie?
The old Guillermo del Toro movie?
Yeah, about 20 years old, something like
Yeah.
that. You haven't seen that, Mark?
I have not.
Wow, you should
Really
check it
good ghost
out.
story.
Huh?
It's a really good ghost story.
Yeah, very atmospheric. Yeah. Yeah, there's a great quote right at the beginning of the movie. You have to watch it and tell me what you think about it, Mark.
Okay.
The Devil's Backbone. It's in
Oh,
Spanish, is it not, Pete, with subtitles, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the Spanish Civil War, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember. Yeah. So
Yeah.
been a while.
Speaking of someone who supported me, just real quick, Tom Lucas. Tom, if you're listening, thank you again. I will continue to talk about this book and promote it online. Uh, it's a real cute book. It's called Research Randy and the Mystery of Grandma's Half-Eaten Pie of Despair. So it's sort of a young adult encyclopedia type, encyclopedia encyclopedia Brown type of book, but it's cosmic horror. So it's a really cute book. Check it out. It's available on Kindle and in paperback. It's on Kindle. It's only $3.95. So this gentleman is a Patreon. He's also supported me with sponsoring his book. So show him that he made a good investment and buy his book. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a real cute book. Anything else, guys? Talked about that. You know, I'm right there with you with the movie theater experience. So I rarely go, but I do miss going when not very many people are in there. But it just seems like I went and saw Godzilla -1, but there just hasn't been anything that's been actually in the theater that has been worth going to
now we
lately.
actually have a drive-in theater not far from us, so we do go
Ditto.
to the drive-in
Oh, that's
periodically.
cool.
In fact, the last thing we saw was the Godzilla X Kong New Empire, which I did not expect to like at all. And it wasn't the world's best film, but I actually had a good time. And they have the greasy drive-in burgers, and I mean, it's just a nice experience to go sit out at the drive-in.
It is. It is. Next time I go, I gotta really hook up something so that the sound will blast into my left ear, or maybe Bluetooth it, because I'm half deaf, and it makes it harder at the drive-in.
Yeah, you need to tune a radio to get to the soundtrack here. So I've got a boom box that I always keep loaded with batteries, but even then, you still have to keep it pretty close to get to get a good sound on it.
Yeah. The other thing about going to the movies when you're half deaf, you don't have the choice of subtitles like you do at home.
Mhm.
You know, that's a big thing for me, and
We're not even half deaf, but we about have to use the subtitles for most shows now. I shouldn't say that now. At my age, I hear volume pretty well, but clarity is
that's what
not
I
so
mean.
good.
Like if you're in the next room talking with somebody, I can hear that you're talking with someone.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can't understand what you're saying. You know, the last Necronomicon, the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival, they put on the live radio plays sometimes. They do a fantastic job. The the room was full of fans watching this and listening. I couldn't understand what was going on. It was frustrating, because it just all kind of ran together.
Yeah.
Now,
And
if
there's
you're in a
there's
room with me,
still
like right now, we're digitally, so to speak, we're all in a quiet room together. So I don't miss much. But with other conversations going on or noise, it becomes very hard.
yeah, and there's still a lot of movies where the sound is so poorly balanced, at least
Yeah.
for watching at home,
Yeah.
where the sounds are deafening, and then you get to the they're talking. No, you can't get there.
Right.
I have teacher's hearing. I can't understand the dialogue in a movie, but I can pick out a conversation at the back of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Danielle.
But meanwhile, I also feel like in the last 20 years, the enunciation, the clarity in films required by directors, editors, whatever, has just gone to shit.
Yeah.
That could
You
be.
know,
Yeah.
everybody sort of mumble. There are little actors that mumble through their lines now. So,
Yeah.
but that's their style.
Yeah, I had read some I don't know if he's a sound producer or what, but actually to me was kind of galling about, he's like, well, if your sound balance isn't right, then that's on you. It's not their fault that they're blasting you and then they're whispering at you. That it sounded like the biggest bunch of horse shit I'd ever heard.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who read the Charlie Parker novels, which are really nice, really great, very well written noir novels by John Connolly, with sometimes a hint of supernatural, sometimes more than a hint. But they're not. They're very. It's very easy to suspend disbelief in these novels because they're so well written and they have such a basis in reality, it seems. I don't know if I'm putting that quite the right way, but anyway, the latest book is out, and I just started it last night. So if you read those, check it out. I think it's called The Dark Instruments. I don't have it in front of me. So Charlie Parker. So anyway, anything else, guys?
No?
All right. I'm going to include a link to a little project that my son's doing, and if you're familiar with Linktree, he's doing a project where I'm going to put it in the side chat right now, and he's doing, it's basically like Linktree. He creates a links page for you, but it's, instead of paying so much per month, it's a one-time fee forever, and that's it, and it's a small fee. I think Linktree is like 10 or 15 bucks a month, and I think he's charging around $20 just for a one-time fee, and then you never get charged again. So, and I'm proud of him. He created some nice templates, and you just tell him what you want, and he'll create the links page for you. So, yeah, if you need a links page or you've been thinking about it, give him a try, and more than just the money, you'll really make him feel good, and you'll make his dad feel great. So thanks. All right, guys. Is that it? Anything else?
That's
Sounds good to me, man.
All right.
I'm tired, man. It's
Good.
so hot here.
Yeah, I will report on Frightmare next Sunday.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it. So, Bridget and Mike just came to see you recently, didn't they, Pete?
Yes, they did, and I cooked for them, and they had a wonderful time.
That's great. Rub it in.
Well,
Who did you cook?
one of my children.
Soylent Green is made of people.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. And yeah, goodbye and hello as always.
Thanks, Mike.